See what's happening here. You're face to face with greatness. And what's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OG GM, coming to you live at 11:35 in the morning on this, the 4th day of September in the year of our Lord Steve the Cat 2023. It's about 70-ish and hazy here at Site B. And we have some more news regarding the announcement of 2 new classes entering into the world of Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered Core, Electric Boogaloo, and maybe some more information in general about what Paizo's plans are for Pathfinder Remastered 2nd Edition Core Universe, Electric Boogaloo, and why they felt they needed 2 new classes, which they really didn't. We went over these 2 new classes the other day, including the introduction of the very first rare character class. We still haven't found an explanation as to what a rare character class is, though we think it has something to do with Pathfinder organized play and whether how many players are allowed to play one per table, or steps that you have to take to unlock the rare class in organized play. Or it just means that it's a class that the DM can choose not to allow at their game. That's why it's rare, because not everybody can have one. Maybe only, I could understand it maybe in organized play being like only one person at the table can have the rare character class, which doesn't seem fair. Seems to go against the whole organized play open-endedness, but okay. Or there's steps in the adventure path you have to take in order to unlock the rare class, and then the rare class is available to be played. Kind of like when you unlock an extra character in a video game, you know. Or it's the other one makes even less sense, because basically it's saying, well, here's a class, but you don't have to allow it at your table, DM, because it's rare. Or it's a class they have to earn before anybody can play it. Well, pretty much since day one, one of the many rules DMs have embraced is, if I don't want it in my game, it's probably not going to be my game. You know, if the theme of my game is I'm using Pathfinder to run an all-human King Arthur themed campaign, I'm probably not going to allow exemplars, am I? Or if I'm running an all-thief game, or if I'm running an all, whatever, fighter game. So saying that a rare character means that a DM can choose not to allow it is pointless, because pretty much a DM can choose not to allow any class if they don't want to. And the players agree, which they probably won't. But so, yeah, I think it has something to do with the organized play, but we don't know what. Now, why are they introducing new classes? What does this have to do with the upcoming plans for Paizo? Well, they have maybe clarified. Okay, so as we know, Paizo announced that they're doing Pathfinder 2 Remastered. It's not a new edition. Much like D&D 2024 is not a new edition. Today, they gave us a little bit more clarity. Now, mind you, this comes to us from Comic Book Resources, so, it's Comic Book Resources. Paizo plans for Pathfinder includes plans to shake up both lore of the game and sub-mechanics in the upcoming Pathfinder Remaster project, which starts later this year with the release of a new core rulebook that are completely different than the previous Pathfinder 2 core rulebooks, because we're changing lore and mechanics, but it's not a new edition. Yes, it is. Paizo announced earlier this year that they are moving away from material originally published under the open game license because of Wizards' attempt to forcibly deauthorize the current version of the OGL earlier this year. So anything that was in Pathfinder 1, which was, all OGL, they're trying to move away from. They're trying to move away from any of the lore that was somehow connected to OGL lore, any of the mechanics. While Wizards abandoned their attempt after immense fan outcry, Paizo announced a Pathfinder Remaster project to totally break away from the OGL. I guess it'll be under the ORC then? While many other OGL-oriented creatures, such as chromatic dragons, could be salvaged in the Pathfinder by simply renaming them. So instead of calling them chromatic dragons, we call them, fluffy dragons, sandwich dragons, colored dragons. or just not give them any, difference at all. Give them names. Like, they remember when they named all the demons? You're not a type 3 demon, you're a Tanari. Simply giving them new names and lore. Some mechanics such as alignment and creatures like Drow were too determined to be tied to the OGL to be used in the game. Oh yeah, remember the whole thing? Drow were not going to be in Pathfinder Remastered anymore, but the mechanics for Drow were still going to be in Pathfinder Remastered anymore. They were just going to call them, but they're not there. They're gone. Drow is going to be gone, but they're still going to be there. We could just release them under a different name, because no, Wizards of the Coast, in fact, doesn't own the word Drow. We already went over this whole Drow thing. It's just stupid. It's just virtue baiting. Oh, look, Drow are gone from our game. We're not evil. But here are some spooky elves that are called something else. So how are they doing this? They have a playtest coming up of something called Wrath of the Immortals. The War of the Immortals. War of the Immortals starts sometime this month. You can download the initial information and playtest from the Paizo site, link down below. There's a brand new character builder on their website, Demiplane. Demiplane is Paizo's version of D&D Beyond. And Foundry has added VTTs that include full automated support for both classes. So as of today, if you wanted to play an Animus or an Exemplar, you could, because the information is available on the playtest, and the information is available on the character builder, and the information is available on Foundry VTT. But remember, one of those two is rare. Now, both classes seem to be tied to the upcoming War of the Immortals, an upcoming storyline tied to the brewing war between the deities of Glorion. The press release for the new playtest mentioned that gods will die, which could significantly shake up the Pathfion and even make up the world of the Pathfinder itself. We already know at least one god has died, Eridon, the god of humanity. His death created a hurricane that opened up a chasm into the other hellish planes and destroyed entire continents in Pathfinder already. I didn't know this happened, but I guess it did. I haven't really been caught up in Pathfinder lore, but I guess something happened between Pathfinder First and Pathfinder Second, and now Eridon, the god of humanity, is gone, and this has somehow formed a crisis on infinite Earths, where all the gods are going to fight, and some of the gods might be cast out or replaced with different gods, or certain, pantheons might be remastered, or temples dedicated to certain gods might vanish, or how certain people in Glorion were basically stargated into Glorion from other worlds, which explains why Tyr is in the Glorion mythology, and why they have a very an Egypt looking thing, why there's so much diversity of technology and weirdness, and Glorion is just this hodgepodge of just basically, let's try and fit as many different genres of fantasy we can into our world to explain everything. I want to play a character from Egypt. Here's a place that is just like Egypt in our world. I want to play a French musketeer. Here's a place in our world that's just like France during the era of the musketeer. I want to play a gun. Yeah, whatever. We made our world to fit anything you could, and we've been feeding into that over the years of Pathfinder First. But now we got Pathfinder Second, where we changed everything, and now we got Pathfinder Second Remastered coming out later this year, probably early next year, more likely, which is not a new edition. But we're changing a ton of the mechanics. We're changing a ton of names. We're getting rid of some races completely. In fact, those races never existed. And some other stuff. But it's not a new edition. But there will be a new player's handbook that you will have to buy because we've changed everything, but it's not a new edition. And we're going to explain all this by a war of the gods. And gods are going to die, and certain races are going to cease to exist. And anything that connects us still to the OGL is going to be gone. I mean, not the basic stuff like strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, charisma levels. No, we're still using those. And stuff like, fighter, cleric, wizard, thief. We're still using those. But anything else that might connect us to the OGL, we're going to get rid of. And we're going to use the ORC SRD stuff instead. Mind you, there is no SRD for the ORC yet, but that's what Pathfinder Remastered is going to be. And we're going to do this by having a crisis in the multiverse. and killing some of our gods to explain the transition from the old system to the new system. And it's going to take like a year to do it. Because, yeah, that's a totally original idea that's never been done before. Explaining the transition of your system from an old system to a new system via the death and reorganization of the celestial bureaucracy and a crisis across a multiverse of gods. And some of the gods that we can't use anymore because they're OGL might be replaced by different gods. Yeah, that's totally original idea. Nobody's ever done that before. Never been done. Yeah. Of course, I'm being facetious. That's 100% sarcasm. We totally know this has been done before, guys. But I guess that's the best way you could explain something like this. Major transitions of gaming lore and mechanics, have to be explained with a apocalypse and completely rewriting things that have been, engraved in the heartbeat of the system. Because, that's worked all the times Marvel and DC have tried to do that. And, of course, that worked when they did the Crisis Avatar series with D&D, with the transition from second to third, right? This was amazing success, right? We all remember the Avatar trilogy, right? And how well that went over, and Mystra becoming Midnight, Celeborn, Cyric, or my boy Cyric becoming, the god of the dead, or Across the Spider-Verse with Miles Morales. All this always the multiverse crisis in DC, thanks to the Flash. We're going to make a movie in DC to explain why we're changing all our other movies going forward and how they're not connected to the movies we've made so far, because we're restarting the DC universe. But in making this movie, of course, we're going to open up a whole bunch of new issues that will now be needed to be explained in all the other movies, therefore making the whole point why we made this movie mute. Because now George Clooney is Batman. Except now James Gunn said he isn't. This is pretty much the same thing you're doing. This is basically just an excuse to get you to buy brand new books and for them to slowly go, oh, yeah, actually, it was a new game, and you do have to buy the new books. And Pathfinder 2nd Edition Remastered is really Pathfinder 3rd Edition because we changed everything. But we don't want to have any connections to the OGL because reasons, mind you, all the things that you connect you to the OGL, Wizards of the Coast has absolutely no legal power over. Wizards of the Coast does not own the word Drow, does not own the idea of Dark Elves, does not own the word fighter. The only thing Wizards of the Coast owns is strength, dex, con, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, and certain names like Beholder. And they don't even own Beholder. They just own the imagery associated with that word. That they own. That very iconic image they own. But the word they don't own. They don't own the word Beholder. So, yes. Now, as for the explanation for what a rare character is, still don't know. They do have explanation for the other rare things. They do have an explanation for like rare skills and rare feats. Rare skills and rare feats are basically you have to go find somebody to teach them to you. You can't just find them at the 5 and dime store. They're only available at a very obscure, unique niche. Maybe only one guy in the whole world knows this skill feat. Okay, I like. I can get on board with that. I don't know, but yeah. So that leaves us with a upcoming adventure path that will explain the destruction and rebirth of the Pathfinder 2 remastered universe. That is totally original idea that has never been done before. Yes, it has. And there's going to be at least 3 to 5 new books that will have completely different rule sets that you're going to have to buy. But don't worry, it's not a new game. All right, does everybody caught up? Does that make sense to everybody? Have I clarified this? Have I cleared the field? Are we ready to go forward with the ORC official Pathfinder 2 Remastered when it comes out in a brand new post-Holocaust world of glory and where everything is completely different but the same? Are we excited about this? Do we even care? You think you would have learned your lesson by now, game companies, to stop doing this? But I guess we haven't. That's all the news we have on this strange story. I'm sure we will have more links down below if you want to check out the playtest. Till next time, I'm the OG GM. It's lunchtime. I'll talk to you later.